or anybody from water who's taking the lead?
I'm here.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Potter.
That's unmuted on my computer.
It happens to all of us. You just helped somebody win WebEx bingo. So you've heard the ground rules. Everybody in the council members participating have read the responses to the council and the budget book presentation about the water department. We're going to stick to 15 minutes. So it's going to be to 5:08 at the latest that we go. Happy to hear an introductory comment, and then we'll move on to questions.
Thank you, Chair. It's our pleasure to be here. Part of the presentation team this afternoon is Amanda Deaton-Moyer, Adrian Fancher, and Shanna Whitelaw. Listening in are Jim Snyder and John Honeysucker. I'll lead with the statement that we will be able to operate within the submitted budget, and our mission statement is to supply, treat, and manage and protect our water resources in a sustainable manner for the benefit of all who live, work, and play in our community. We take that very seriously. Water and sewer expenses to date are up 0.2% when compared to last year, and stormwater expenses are up 1.0% when compared to last year. As you're fully aware, rates were restructured in January of this year, and we are in the first full budget year of that rate. Over the last 3 months, we have collected revenue as projected, and our budget reflects that increase. The COVID impact, presently we're not assessing late fees or disconnecting for non-payment, and customers can request to defer billing for 2 months. From a revenue perspective, in April, we've seen a 4% reduction in demand for commercial customers, but a 10% increase in residential customer demand. Uncollected revenue increased slightly in March. However, our collected rate for revenue within the previous 90 days has remained between 96% and 97%. I'm going to turn it over presently to Amanda Deaton-Moyer, our CFO, and she'll discuss the budget in a little bit more detail.
Thank you, Scott. Our budget increases this year our budget increase requests represent a 12.81 increase, or $16.7 million over fiscal year 20. I will go over the highlights of this increase. The first and largest increase we're requesting is for the pilot. In January of 2020, Resolution 2020-154 increased Metro Water Services payment in lieu of taxes by $10 million. Almost 60% of the $6.7 million increase will go to the general fund as a payment in lieu of ad valorem taxes. Another milestone of our increase request is 14 positions that total about $750,000. 5 of the staff requests are to keep up with demand driven by development. The other positions are to replace positions in operations where divisions have borrowed positions when this type of investment was not possible. This will ultimately ensure that we are properly staffed to operate the utility. Another $3 million of that increase is for utilities. Metro Water also pays a water bill to itself, and interestingly enough, Biosolids facility is actually one of our top 10 sewer customers. Electricity continues to be one of our main cost centers as well, and those increases are reflected in that request. For stormwater, revenue is projected to increase slightly based on actuals over the last fiscal year to about $36.8 million. The budget request includes 4 additional employees, 3 of which will address continuing development needs in the city. Approximately $2.235 million of the expense increase request is for increase in our debt service, which we pay out of our operating budget. Water continues to support all the small projects we call C projects, with about 138 projects funded to date and 243 funded in 2019. This budget continues to support our commitment to Metro's tree program with more than $400,000 dedicated to this program. With that, we are open to questions.
All right, thank you. I'm going to start with a few and then hand it over to my colleagues. Mr. Potter, I just want to confirm, at this point, is the department on a state distressed water list?
No, sir, we're not. We're, I guess we're on the watch list because we have to report back every 6 months on our progress to the state comptroller's office. We're not distressed.
And I'm apologizing in advance. I know this is going to sound smart alecky, but I feel compelled to ask. Given the idea that what you told us previously about being a chain of command guy, if the council were the top of the chain of command, is there anything else as far as problems, issues, concerns of the department that we ought to know that isn't discussed in the budget materials?
No, sir.
That was a no?
That's correct.
All
No,
right.
sir.
And with that, I'll turn it over to council members. Councilmember Hurt.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Potter and your staff for being there. I have two questions. First, I wanted to know if your staff, or if there were staff increases or step increases in the past year. And the second question is that based on the DES losses that have occurred, was there any subsidy paid due to those losses to Constellation, and if so, how much?
Thank you, Council Lady Hurt. The regular step advances were done in this fiscal year until the hiring freeze that was recently imposed, and we have not made any contributions to DES at all.
Thank you.
Councilmember Suara.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Porter, and everyone for being here. I know that the Water Department is an enterprise fund and it's not money that we're looking for general operations. But I do have a question on your financial in your Water and Services Fund, and I'm looking at repairs and maintenance that is going up 800,000. I guess my question is, looking at your replacement fund, where you have about 90 million of replacement and for the extension and all that stuff. So if we're having everything replaced, we've got new bonds to do all of that, why is our repairs and maintenance going up by 800,000?
The 800,000 that you are referring to for maintenance is primarily related to our biosolids facility, which we have to clean out the sludge basically every so often. Our digesters have to be cleaned out so that we can create our Class A biosolids, and that's about $400,000 of that. And then additionally, that included in that line is the contract to remove the Class A biosolids, which we use for beneficial reuse.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And Councilmember Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I am kind of curious in why the Metro Water Services budget comes during the middle of all the operating budget, because I think it's important to point out that as an enterprise fund, you know, property taxes and sales tax don't have an impact on this. And with that said, I guess I'm curious what Mr. Potter's opinion or assessment is that longevity pay is being cut for water, sewer, and stormwater employees, even though Metro Water is not facing a dire financial situation. So I'm kind of curious what Mr. Potter's thoughts on that, and if he feels like his employees are being shortchanged.
Thank you, Councilman. Fundamentally, I don't think it's fair for us to get a longevity bonus if no one else in Metro does either.
Okay, fair enough. But I guess for any other council members that are new and might not realize this in the viewing public, can you confirm to me how many dollars from the general fund your department receives for operations?
Zero from the general.
Zero from the general fund.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, council member. Anybody else with questions for the water department? Last chance, everybody. All right, Mr. Potter, there is not anybody else in the queue. Like every other department we've talked to in the last couple of days, want to express our gratitude on behalf of the city. The work your team does is hard enough under regular circumstances, and I know we all know it's more difficult now. So please extend a thank you to everybody on the Metro Water team. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I will. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So the last group on our list is Public Works.